23 August 1942. 6:40 in the morning. Outskirts of Stalingrad, Southern Soviet Union. The first shots are not aimed. They are panic. A German infantry squad moves through the shattered remains of a factory district. The air is thick with dust. Visibility is barely 20 meters. And something is wrong. Very wrong. Gefreiter Karl Weiss hears it first. Not rifle fire. Not machine gun bursts. Something faster. Something continuous. A tearing sound. Like fabric ripping apart the sky. He freezes. Because he cannot identify the weapon. And that is the first problem. At this exact moment, German doctrine depends on recognition. Identify the weapon. Measure the threat. Respond accordingly. But this sound. It does not match anything he knows. Then the man in front of him drops. No warning. No single shot. Just impact after impact. Chest. Shoulder. Neck. 3 hits in less than a second. Weiss does not even see the shooter. And now the second problem appears. They are being engaged. At close range. But from where? The squad leader, Unteroffizier Franz Becker, shouts for cover. Too late. Another burst. Longer this time. 5 men dive behind rubble. 1 does not move. And now the third problem becomes clear. This weapon is not firing in controlled bursts. It is spraying. Relentless. Uninterrupted. Becker presses his back against a broken concrete wall. His mind races. This cannot be a standard Soviet submachine gun. The rate of fire is too high. Too aggressive. Too uncontrolled. But something far worse is about to happen. Across the street, hidden behind collapsed steel beams, a Soviet soldier tightens his grip. Private Alexei Morozov. Age 19. Weapon, PPSh 41. Drum magazine loaded. 71 rounds. Fully automatic. And he is not firing carefully. He is flooding the street with bullets. Morozov cannot see clearly either. But he does not need to. Because this weapon was built for chaos. He pulls the trigger again. The weapon roars. The recoil climbs. But the volume of fire compensates. This is not precision. This is suppression. This is fear turned into firepower. Back with Weiss. He peeks around the rubble. A mistake. A burst snaps past his face so fast he feels the air move. He pulls back instantly. Heart racing. Breathing uneven. He has one thought. What is that weapon? And why does it sound like that? At this moment, they have no idea what they are facing. But higher command has already seen it. Weeks earlier, intelligence reports mentioned a new Soviet submachine gun. Simple construction. Mass production. Extremely high rate of fire. But those reports were dismissed. Because German officers believed accuracy mattered more than volume. That belief is about to collapse. Becker makes a decision. He signals 2 men to flank left. They hesitate. Because the firing has not stopped. Not even for a second. This is the fourth problem. The enemy is not conserving ammunition. He is overwhelming them. Psychologically. Relentlessly. What would you do here? Advance into unknown fire? Or stay pinned and wait? Becker chooses movement. Because staying means death. The 2 soldiers move. Fast. Low. One reaches the corner. The other does not. Another burst cuts him down mid-step. No warning. No pause. Just impact. And now panic spreads. Because the squad realizes something critical. This weapon is not giving them time to react. And without time, training collapses. Back to Morozov. His hands are shaking. Not from fear. From adrenaline. He has never fired this weapon in real combat before. Only in training. But training did not prepare him for this. The power. The speed. The controls slipping away with each burst. He reloads. The drum magazine clicks into place. It takes longer than a standard magazine. And in that moment, there is silence. A gap. A rare opening. Becker hears it. And instantly shouts. Now! 3 Germans rise and fire. Rifles crack. Controlled. Precise. 1 bullet hits the metal beam near Morozov. Sparks fly. Morozov ducks. For the first time. He stops firing. And this changes everything. Because now the Germans see him. A silhouette. A position. A target. Weiss raises his rifle. Steady. Breath held. Finger tight on the trigger. This is his chance. But something interrupts the moment. A second sound. From the right. Closer. Even faster. Another PPSh. Another Soviet soldier joins the fight. And suddenly, the Germans are no longer facing 1 unknown weapon, but 2. Crossfire. Uncontrolled. Overwhelming. And now Becker understands. This is not just a weapon. This is a tactic. Flood the enemy. Break their rhythm. Destroy their ability to think. The squad is trapped. Pinned. Outgunned at close range. And something even more dangerous is happening. They are starting to fear the sound itself. The tearing noise. The endless bursts. The feeling that the bullets will not stop. And that fear is spreading faster than the bullets. But what they do not realize yet is that this moment will force a decision that changes everything. Because within hours, some of these same German soldiers will pick up that weapon and turn it against its creators. But at what cost? And why would trained German infantry abandon their own rifles? That answer is coming. 23 August 1942. 9:15 in the morning. Same factory district, Stalingrad. The firing has stopped. Not because the battle is over, but because there is nothing left to shoot. Smoke hangs low across the broken streets. The echoes fade. And for a brief moment, there is silence. Gefreiter Karl Weiss is still alive. Barely. He does not move at first. His ears are ringing. His hands are shaking. And the only thing he can hear now is his own breathing. Slow. Uneven. Uncertain. Then he realizes something. The tearing sound is gone. And that scares him more than when it was there. Because silence means one of 2 things. Either the enemy is dead, or they are waiting. He slowly lifts his head above the rubble. Careful. Measured. His eyes scan the street. Bodies. Debris. Burned metal. And then he sees it. A Soviet soldier lying near the steel beams. Not moving. Weapon still in his hands. Weiss freezes. Because even now, he does not fully trust what he is seeing. What if he is pretending? What if he is waiting? But nothing moves. No sound. No breath. Weiss turns to Becker. A silent question. Becker nods. Move. Slowly, they approach. Step by step. Weapons ready. Every second feels stretched. Every shadow feels alive. And then they reach him. Private Alexei Morozov is dead. But his weapon is not. It lies across his chest. Compact. Rough. Drum magazine still attached. Weiss kneels beside it. Hesitates. Because this is not just a weapon. This is the thing that almost killed him. The thing that broke their formation. The thing that made trained soldiers panic. And now, it is within his reach. He picks it up. It feels different. Heavier in the front because of the drum. The metal is warm. The wood is worn. This weapon has been used. A lot. Becker watches closely. Because this moment matters. More than they realize. Weiss inspects it quickly. Simple design. No fine machining. No polished finish. This is not German engineering. This is something else. Something built fast. Built cheap. Built for war at scale. And then he notices the selector. He switches it. Raises the weapon. Points it toward an empty wall. Hesitates. Because once he pulls the trigger, there is no going back. What would you do here? Trust your training? Or trust what almost killed you? Weiss makes his decision. He fires. The weapon explodes to life. A burst so fast it shocks him. The recoil climbs instantly. The sound returns. That tearing sound. But now, he is the one controlling it. He releases the trigger. Looks at Becker. Eyes wide. Because now he understands. This weapon is not accurate. It is not refined. It is not precise. But at close range, it does not need to be. It overwhelms. It dominates. It breaks the enemy before they can react. And this realization spreads through the squad. Quickly. Quietly. Dangerously. Because now the fifth problem appears. If this weapon is better for this kind of fighting, then their current weapons are not enough. German Karabiner 98K rifles are precise, reliable, effective at range. But here, in these streets, in these tight corridors, they are too slow, too deliberate, too controlled. And control is no longer an advantage. Back to Becker. He makes a decision that goes against standard doctrine. He signals Weiss. Keep it. The order is clear. Use it. This is the moment everything changes. Because German soldiers are now adapting. Not through command. Not through official orders. But through survival. And this creates a hidden consequence. One that higher command has not approved. One that will spread rapidly. Across units. Across the city. Across the entire front. Captured weapons will now be used. Not as a last resort. But as a preferred choice. But something far worse is coming. Because this weapon has a weakness. And no one in this squad fully understands it yet. Weiss reloads again. The drum magazine clicks. But slower this time. More awkward. His hands fumble slightly. Because this is unfamiliar. Untrained. Unpracticed. And in combat, that matters. Suddenly, a distant sound breaks the moment. Artillery. Incoming. The ground shakes. Dust falls from shattered walls. Becker shouts for cover. The squad dives inside a partially collapsed building. Inside, the space is tight. Dark. Claustrophobic. Perfect for close combat. And that is when they hear it again. Footsteps. Above them. Multiple. Moving fast. Soviet soldiers. Closing in. And now everything changes again. Because Weiss is no longer testing the weapon. He is about to depend on it. The footsteps stop. A voice shouts in Russian. Orders. Urgent. Close. Becker signals positions. 2 men cover the stairwell. Weiss takes point. Weapon raised. Finger ready. This is the moment. The real test. Not in the open. Not at distance. But here. In a confined space. Where speed decides survival. The first Soviet soldier appears at the top of the stairs. Weiss fires instantly. A burst. Short. Violent. The soldier drops. But there is no pause. More are coming. Faster. Louder. Closer. Weiss fires again. And again. The weapon roars. The stairwell fills with smoke and sound. And for a moment, it works perfectly. Too perfectly. Because something unexpected happens. The drum runs dry. Click. Silence. At the worst possible moment, Weiss freezes. Because reloading this weapon takes time. More time than he has. The Soviets are still coming. Closer. And now the same problem returns. But reversed. The overwhelming fire is gone. The pressure is gone. And the enemy feels it. They push forward. Aggressively. Fearlessly. And Weiss realizes something too late. This weapon gives power. But only while it is firing. And when it stops, it leaves you exposed. Completely. And now he is trapped. Half-trained. Half-armed. Out of time. With enemies just seconds away. And Becker cannot reach him. No one can. Because the next decision will determine who survives this room. And who does not? 23 August 1942. 9:22 in the morning. Interior stairwell, factory sector, Stalingrad. The weapon is silent. Gefreiter Karl Weiss stares at it for half a second too long. Empty. Heavy. Useless. And the footsteps are getting closer. Fast. There is no time for thought now. Only instinct. Behind him, Becker shouts something. But Weiss cannot hear the words. Because his focus has collapsed into one point. The stairwell. The narrow opening. The place where the next man will appear. And then it happens. A Soviet soldier bursts into view. Weapon raised. Already firing. Weiss does the only thing he can. He drops the PPSh-41. Reaches for his Karabiner 98K rifle. Too slow. Too long. Too late. The Soviet fires. A burst tears into the wall beside Weiss. Stone explodes. Fragments cut his face. He falls back. Blind for a second. And that is when Becker moves. From the left side of the room. He steps into the line of fire. Raises his submachine gun. MP40. Short burst. Controlled. Accurate. The Soviet soldier drops instantly. But Becker does not stop. Because he understands something critical. More are coming. He shouts. Reload him. Weiss scrambles. Hands shaking. He grabs the drum magazine. Fumbles with the latch. It will not seat. Not cleanly. Not quickly. This is the weakness. This is the hidden flaw. High firepower. Slow recovery. And in close combat, recovery time is everything. Another Soviet appears. Closer this time. Becker fires again. Short burst. The MP40 cycles smoothly. Reliable. Controlled. But slower. Always slower. And that difference matters. Because behind the second soldier, a third is already moving. This is the reversal. The same overwhelming pressure the Germans felt earlier is now coming back at them. But this time, they cannot match it. Weiss forces the drum into place. It clicks. Finally, he raises the weapon again. Too late for Becker. A sudden burst from the stairwell. Louder. Closer. Becker jerks backward. Hit. He collapses against the wall. The MP40 falls from his hands. And now everything breaks. Command is gone. Control is gone. The room is seconds away from collapse. What would you do here? Run? Hide? Or stand and fight? Weiss does not think. He fires. The PPSh roars back to life. A full burst. Uncontrolled. Violent. The stairwell fills with bullets. With splinters. Concrete cracks. The third Soviet soldier disappears in the storm. Weiss does not release the trigger. He cannot. Because stopping means silence. And silence means death. The drum empties again. Faster than he expects. But this time, the effect is different. No one is advancing. No footsteps. No voices. Only smoke. And the echo of what just happened. Weiss lowers the weapon slowly. Breathing hard. The fear is still there. But something else has replaced it. Understanding. This weapon is not about precision. It is not about discipline. It is about dominance. Short moments of absolute control, followed by dangerous vulnerability. And survival depends on managing both. Behind him, Becker is still alive. Barely. Weiss kneels beside him. Blood is spreading across his uniform. Becker looks at the weapon in Weiss's hands. Then back at him. No words. Just a look. A decision passed without speaking. Use it. Learn it. Adapt. Because this war is changing. And those who do not change will not survive it. Hours later, the same German unit moves deeper into the city. But something is different now. 3 of them carry PPSh-41 submachine guns. Captured. Reused. Accepted. Not officially. Not by command. But by necessity. And this is not an isolated moment. Across Stalingrad, across the Eastern Front, German soldiers begin doing the same. They rename it Maschinen Pistol 717R. They issue ammunition when they can. They train with it when possible. Because the battlefield has already decided. This weapon works here. In ruins. In tight streets. In close combat. But the hidden consequence now reveals itself. Logistics. The ammunition is not standard. The drum magazines are inconsistent. Maintenance is unfamiliar. And in critical moments, that uncertainty returns. The same weakness Weiss faced will repeat. Again. And again. And again. But even with those risks, they keep using it. Because fear has changed sides. That tearing sound. That overwhelming burst. It no longer belongs to one army. It belongs to whoever pulls the trigger. And that changes the psychology of the battlefield. Soviet soldiers begin hearing their own weapon used against them. Confusion spreads. Hesitation grows. For a split second, they cannot tell who is firing. And in that split second, everything can be decided. This is the real impact. Not just firepower, but perception. Uncertainty. The breaking of recognition. The same problem that froze Weiss in the beginning now moves in the opposite direction. And that is how small changes create massive consequences. The Battle of Stalingrad will continue for months. It will become one of the deadliest battles in history. Hundreds of thousands will die. Entire armies will collapse. But inside that massive struggle, moments like this matter. Small decisions. Desperate adaptations. Weapons picked up from fallen enemies. And used. Without permission. Without training. Without certainty. Because survival does not wait for orders. It forces choices. And those choices change the war. Weiss never forgets the sound. That tearing noise. The moment fear turned into understanding. The moment he realized the weapon he feared most was the one he needed to survive. And the question remains: if you were there, would you have trusted it? Or would you have stayed with what you knew and paid the price?